What up, guys? Anti-Tier Guild Forever gonna be doing a brief little review for Super Sentai King-Ohgers. Pretty sure this episode 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. So yeah, basically the whole series done. Sorry if it took a bit for this to come out. It's boy, if you guys only knew the week I had. If you guys knew the week I had, boy, I tell you. That was let's just say it was one hell of a week. Yes, Black Butler reference. But anyway, getting started on this, yeah, the series is done. So just to let you guys know, for those that aren't aware, I'll be getting back to Kamen Rider Gotchard coming out very soon within this week. More Patreon uploads coming this week too for those that are interested. It's gonna be the Has Been Hotel, what else? Classroom of the Elite, Golden Boy. I'm not sure if I can do it this week, but more than likely the following week. The rest of Persona 4, the animation. What else am I getting into? Thinking at the back of my head, a bunch of other random K-drama series is going to be uploaded also to the Patreon, so look forward to that. But don't worry, guys, I haven't forgotten the main channel here on YouTube. I'm going to be getting caught up with the rest of the Weakest Tamer Begun a Journey to Be Pickup Trash. I think that's how you say the title. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting back into that series relatively soon. But after this one, I'm going to do Kamen Rider, then that. It's going to be throughout this week and possibly next week too, because I'm just taking not a break per se, and I'll be mentioning these going forward for the next few uploads. I'm not really taking a break from streaming. I'm just pausing just for a brief second, except for requests, because I'm trying to get back up to speed with the channel, and a lot has happened throughout the previous week with power, certain issues that came up before. They're all resolved, by the way. Everything is fine now, but I want to get back to doing I want to get into the attempt of daily uploads on the main channel as well as Patreon. Once I'm able to consistently do that, we'll bring back streams within given like reasonability, you know what I mean, within reason. So again, but you guys will see everything unfold within the next upcoming few days. But yeah, other than that, getting back to King-Ohgers, my honest opinion of the series in general, this is actually, I'm pretty sure this is actually my first Super Sentai series I've tackled in regards to as a reaction series. And as my first Super Sentai series, I'll be honest, I actually liked it quite a bit. The ending was extremely satisfying. I was glad certain characters that were gone made a debut again throughout the last remaining episodes. I also am aware there's a King-Ohgers movie special episodes, and I'll be getting to those soon. But for now, I want to try to tackle back Gotchard again before I dive back into those. But yeah, I'm aware. Thank you, King, for letting me know. If it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't have known. So yeah, appreciate you always updating me on the news regarding Kamen Rider, Super Sentai in general. So again, I appreciate you for always informing me. I would have been completely lost if it weren't for King, I'll be honest. As well as others out there that are informing me. Thank you all as well. You guys are very supportive. I appreciate you all for that. And again, I do apologize for the lackluster amount of videos coming out. But again, that's why I want to try to, again, not stop streams, but just like cool it just for a bit, just so I can get back to the feeling of uploading again. If you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, I will say, in terms of like the final villain, the Space Bug King, however you say him, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. So right now, I'm just gonna give my short thesis, well, not thesis, but my short opinions on each individual characters, and then we'll get into the meat of the story. Okay, the main villain, I guess you could say, toward the end of the series, Dugrade, or you know who I'm talking about, the Galactic Space Bug King. That's a mouthful of a title, but in my honest opinion, him as a villain, I understand that him as a villain, he came off as very playful due to the fact that, well, I mean, he's all powerful. He's all knowing, I guess you could say. Essentially, he's virtually invincible. He's almost impossible to defeat. So when you have that much power and an infinite supply of power, you grow an ego. An ego that's honestly be almost damning, because that ends up becoming his weakness toward the end. His ego pretty much caused his own defeat. And of course, you know, the power of friendship, believing yourself. Typical tropes that we see in certain genres like shonen, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, on how most main MCs beat the main villains. But yeah, I will say in terms of a villain, I wasn't that hugely impressed. Desnarok, in my opinion, was a much more interesting villain, especially upon his death. I ended up liking Desnarok a lot. So for me, Desnarok was a better villain than the space bug. I mean, think about it. I don't even remember his name that much. He was a very forgettable character for me. Desnarok, just for me personally, was a great villain, was a great character in general. When he made a comeback toward the end, I was actually extremely happy to see that. I was very, very happy to see that. So it was good seeing him again toward the end. He still is technically dead, but at least he managed to make it toward the end of the series. And then all the Super Sentais pretty much were like beaten and taken out. Well, actually, we're still reviewing characters. My bad. I got a little off point for a second. Sorry. And now I'm just gonna get into each of the individual, I guess you could say, henchmen of Dugre, or Galactic Space Bug. Bro, the girlie that kept manipulating people was honestly the most overpowered one out of all of them. She single-handedly took down several kingdoms on her own. Like, by her, like no joke, by herself, she was a huge, and I mean a huge threat. I'm glad they took her out. Like, I'll be honest, she needed to go sooner, because she caused way too many problems, like, throughout majority of the series. Her being taken out, it needed to happen. It needed to happen. She was far too much trouble. Like, I'll be honest, guys, she was too much trouble. She had to go. She had to go. And I guess you could say better late than never, but I'm just saying, she almost got to everyone. Most of the other henchmen that the Galactic Space Bug had as minions, bro, like other than Gnorg, one of the henchmen that essentially cannot die, because, well, we end up finding out that it's not that he can't die, it's just that he is no longer alive. So there's no more life breathing in him. He's essentially a risen. Essentially, that's what he is, a risen. He cannot die. He cannot go, like, you can't kill was already dead. So yeah, that was his main thing going for him. He was already gone for like again, guys, he's gone. He's dead, but he is still able to walk on the earth. And due to that fact, he is unable to know what it's like to feel death, or to have his life taken away from him, or just to have his life expended. He doesn't know what it's like to go through any of those passages of life, or the circumstances of death, whether they were by violence, disease, age, or whatever. He does not appreciate the value of life. because he doesn't know life is fleeting. For him, life is no different than life isn't as special to him because he doesn't know what it's like to have it cut away. So in that sense, I kind of get where he was coming from. And the only one that could really relate to him was Jeremiah, because he is immortal too. So what did they do? They gave him more immortality, true immortality. And by doing that, what ultimately ended up happening is that, well, he was able to experience life. And since now he's fully alive, Hemino, now I'm starting to forget names. Hemino, the yellow Sentai Ranger, she was able to rob him away of his life and ultimately send him to the graveyard, send him to his death. So, brilliant plan, I'm not gonna add. The thing that just keeps making like copies of the Galactic Space Bug, his death was just pitiful. I don't even think it's worth mentioning because of how pitiful it was. But yeah, each of them suffered a very like a very like, I wouldn't say cruel death, but they got what they deserved. For me personally, again, I still say that the fuck, bro, the freaking the girl one was crazy OP. Okay, and now each of the individual Super Sentai characters. Kaguragi, I'll start with him. Honestly, his deceptive nature is what really like made me falter with him. I couldn't tell if he was a character that was one I would like, because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge fan of characters that are super deceptive. So I wasn't sure about him, but honestly, in the end, he became deceptive due to the circumstance of how he even became the current king of Tofu or Toha, or however you say his kingdom's name. So I understand he had to do some underhanded things to ensure their survival of his kingdom, considering how he became a king and considering how he's even witnessed his own kingdom fall before. If I were to rate him in terms of like out of 5 stars, I would give him a 3.5 out of 5. Because, well, be it his deceptive nature was charming, he never really, other than the main reason how, like his past, other than his past being revealed, most of the time he was there either as comic relief or as a character you weren't sure if you can fully trust or not. If it weren't for his backstory, it probably would have been a 3 at least, or 2.5. But again, it could have been higher, but he was a character I thought was good, but not interesting enough for me to like him. You know what I mean? You guys let me know your thoughts on Kaguragi. Next, Hemino. Hemino is interesting because she comes off as selfish and shallow as hell at first, but once you dig into her past and dig into her reasons why she does what she does, it's her selfish nature that makes her selfless at the same time. Does that make sense? Her being selfish is what makes her selfless. Her desire to have everything is what makes her charming. And again, I'm not just, for those in the comment sections, don't come at me and be like, this dude is simping. No, I'm being objective, okay? Everything I'm saying right now is objective, so chill. But yeah, honestly, I did thought that her past made her become more sympathetic. Like, you did feel bad for her and you wanted to understand more about her and not just what was on the surface. Because on the surface, what she was ultimately was a spoiled brat with an inflated ego due to her position. But in reality, she is a very caring, and she isn't as, in a way, she doesn't really come off as a king, but that's not in a way of being negative. I feel like for me personally, you guys can choose to agree or not. I personally thought that Hemino was someone that's a doctor first and a king second. Because think about how much she cares about her people and how much length she's willing to go to save them. That she would always be on the front lines with the medical team, trying to save as many people as she can, while at the same time playing her role as her Super Sentai. When you think about it in those ways, she cares more about her people than the political stances as a king. And that isn't necessarily bad. I will have to say that means she isn't the perfect king, but she is an amazing doctor. And I feel like no one can take that away from her. You guys let me know on your ideas on this topic. Okay, so now moving on to Rita. Bruh, best girl. And you guys know what I mean by best girl. Bro, without that mask on, god damn. Okay, I'll chill. Okay, I need to fucking chill before I fucking get clipped. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can already tell this shit's gonna get clipped anyway. Fuck it. But yeah, Rita acts very stoic, stern, and cruel. But all she's trying to do is upload her beliefs in the justice system. Because for her, if she can't uphold her own beliefs, the system of justice, then for her, what is there even a purpose in life? What is her purpose in general? Because she lives and abides by the law. And again, for her, even though there could be circumstances that the law could end up hurting people unjustly, or even hurting people that are undeserving, in her eyes, the law is absolute, and the law is what gives her purpose, because she believes in it so strongly that it's almost unwavering. She becomes completely unwavered in her sense of justice. That stubborn sense of justice, in my personal opinion, is very admirable, but at the same time, she needs to learn that sometimes the law isn't absolute, and she needs to be a little flexible. And she has shown sides of herself where the law isn't completely correct, and she tries to ruse her way in between them or bend the laws into her favor. And in a way, I feel like that's a sign of growth, because that shows even though she does believe in the law, she believes in the law when it's warranted and not when it's said. You know what I mean? Like, just because the law says this doesn't mean it's always correct. Just because the law gives enough evidence and gives enough proof, that doesn't mean that evidence aren't always like fabricated or 100% true. She's learned not to just understand the law, but the true meaning of justice, the true meaning of what's right and what's wrong. And while having a cute side too, while we're at it too, with the Mufuns, or however you call her, Abi or whatever. But I will have to say, oh yeah, I forgot to give a rating on Hemino. My bad. Hemino, I give her a solid 4. I really think she has a very strong and tenacity personality that really, really has charm. Rita, I want to give her... I wouldn't put her on the scale of Hemino, because Hemino really is a character that I personally think shown a lot of growth. Rita has too. I would give Rita like a 3.8. While Rita does show growth, I don't think it's fair to compare her to Hemino, when Hemino, in my opinion, has shown probably one of the greatest developments out of even some of the best characters. Even toward like the final scenes, when it comes to her getting her revenge, the fury of the gods, deciding on using the powers of like one of the galactic bug's henchmen in order to bring back the dead. But even she understood that you shouldn't disrespect the dead like that. People shouldn't come back or will not come back. Once they're gone, they're gone. and she needed to accept that. And as hard as it was for her, she grew from it and she became stronger from it. My personal opinion. Okay, next, Yanma. Hot-blooded delinquent asshole genius. Bro's a fucking genius. He literally designed everything related to their weaponry. Their mecha sword, their henshins. Bro, the guy designed everything. And his kingdom is probably one of the most advanced kingdoms in all of the series. Like, be real. The second, like, I honestly say the best kingdom out of all of them is probably Yanma's. It's between Yanma's or Hemino's. Third is probably Kaguragi's, but that's because of their sorry, background music kind of went weird. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of clear as day that Yanma's kingdom is by far the most advanced out of all of them. And while he does come out as cool, epic, and a freaking badass genius, I feel like we got too much of what's on the surface and we didn't get enough of what was underneath, other than the flashback. I'm starting to think like flashbacks aren't like super granted, at least to the highest degree, just because like whether it'll ultimately break or make a character. Because let's be honest, every character in the series has a flashback and they're all extremely well written, but I don't feel like that should just ultimately define whether they're the best or not. But Yanma is basically the backbone of their weaponry, as well as how advanced they are as a civilization. So I can't even take that away from him. I'll be honest, I'll give him a 4.2 out of 5. Bro, he was the meat of all their weapons. Without Yanma, they'd all be a dying civilization, in my personal opinion. He is the backbone of King-Ohgers. Anyway, moving forward again. Jeremiah. He is the effing narrator, bro. He is the narrator. Have any idea how important that is? He literally has been talking to us from the beginning. And then the whole story of his connection of the Bugnaroks, his connection with Desnarok, his mother, his brother, his mother appearing toward the end was crazy too, though. Bro, that woman can kick ass, like, god damn. Yo, chick is crazy with it. I like her for it. But yeah. And then just overall his Henshin freaking Spider-Man. Come on, bro. You already know they thought of Spider-Man when they made him. It had to be Spider-Man inspired, in my personal opinion. But I'll be honest, the whole Bugnaroks in general, I just think like they were just been dealt a shitty hand just because of the stupid space galactic bug king that orchestrated the Bugnaroks coming down to Earth. Humans and Bugnaroks fighting to the death over essentially the hierarchy or survival of the fittest, pretty much, to see who should be the dominant species or who should be the species to rule the planets, or no, to rule the planet, to rule Earth. And while at the time they really didn't have a choice, the galactic bug king was the one manipulating and pretty much setting all this up just to cause exterminations or to get rid of certain life without him needing to play a part in his, like, without him needing to do anything essentially. And while that is really messed up and underhanded, the bastard is smart as hell for coming up with a crazy idea like that. And honestly, it's kind of insane how like he was able to get everyone to follow with his plan and just completely like, you know, like no one on Earth, whether it's the Bugnaroks or the humans, ever questioned why they ended up in the circumstances of where they were. They just know what is and do what they can to survive, while at the same time like trying to fight these creatures off. The Bugnaroks were doing the same thing too, except they didn't have much of a choice. The Bugnaroks were raided out of their planet, and they had to come to the Earth because it was the only place they could think of that could help their survival. All the Bugnaroks were doing was trying to survive. Survive and thrive on this planet. Until they realized like they were played with. They were just a game in someone's plan. And honestly, that was extremely messed up, man. And that ultimately is what made Jeremiah what he is. The history of the Bugnaroks. His family. Once he was finally told the truth of everything, he was able to come to a decision. Humans and Bugnaroks living side by side. And toward the end of the series, I personally think he accomplished it. Jeremiah, honestly, 4.8. He is a really good character. I'll be honest, I think he's just as good of a character. Like, he could be just as good of a character or even like a MC as like Gira. Speaking of Gira. Gira, on the surface and in the beginning of the series, he proclaimed to be a tyrant king. Because he claimed the ways of Rakhelis and how most ways of other kingdoms uphold themselves was wrong and dishonest and cruel. So what did he did? He became evil himself to go against the ideology of Rakhelis' ways of ruling, as well as every other country. He rebelled for his own sake of justice, for his own sense of morality. And in the end, he was even willing to become someone proclaimed as evil. But he was never evil. Far from it. He was just trying to fight for his beliefs and what he believed were right. A true sense of what right is wrong. A true sense of justice. And I honestly thought that's what made his character so likable. I honestly think he's like the same. I would put him like in the same bracket in terms of ranking, or like at rating as Jeremiah, like a 4.8 or pretty much around the 5. Gira is just very likable in general, and then the twist in the end of how he was born or how he was created, and the reason how he's able to communicate with the show gods, it literally all makes sense now. It all is because he's basically a part of the Galactic Bug King. They come from the same essence. That's kind of nutty to think about when you really try to wrap your hand around it. But I feel like that's enough. If you guys have any questions regarding the series, as well as like the story in general and my thoughts on it further, we can discuss more in the comment section down below. But I will have to say again, if I were to give this entire series a rating, I would give it a solid 4.8. 4.8. Really, really good. The setup in the beginning was a little, not too slow, but like it took its time to get to the meat of the story. And once we got to the main heart of the story, we were already getting into the end of the series. I'm talking about like 30 something episodes in, early 40 episodes in. We were already getting toward the end by that point. But it's fine though. I still enjoyed the series in general as a whole. And yeah. It's time to get back into Gotchard and see how the new Super Sentai series is. Let me know your thoughts on it. Tell me your thoughts on the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subbed if you haven't already, but you find yourself coming to the channel more often. We do anime, honestly any series in general, but of course predominantly anime. And Tokusatsu, so like Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, all that stuff, like very, very much heavy on the channel. So if you find yourself liking those as well, why not sub? That was strangely perfect timing. But anyway, that's it for this one though, guys. Thank you for your time. I'll see you guys later in the next upload. Peace. I'm out.